You are watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another exciting episode of Flashbacks, the series where I explore things that are very nostalgic for me. Today's episode is not about any one thing in specific, but rather a bunch of different things. Basically, nostalgic YouTube videos from like 5 or 6 years ago. Granted, 5 or 6 years may not seem like a long time ago, but it feels like the YouTube of that time was a completely different experience than the YouTube we have now, and that's what I want to talk about. The first thing I'm going to be talking about isn't something so specific, but rather a song that was used in a specific type of video. Back in the day, everyone used to make cryptid, alien, ghost, or conspiracy videos, and I loved that shit back then. And all of them used to have this fucking song from The Matrix play all the time. I miss those days. Those were, they were all very simply made videos that were all put together in, like, Movie Maker and were just text and pictures, but I remember I used to love the shit out of them back in, like, 2011. Another thing, there's several videos that I would showcase clips of, but however, they no longer exist. For instance, the classic YouTube poop Conker's Quest for Mama Luigi was one of the first YouTube poops I ever saw, and it was fucking hilarious. Granted, nowadays I probably wouldn't find it as funny as I did back then, but at the time I loved that shit. It had Conker, it had fucking CDI, Zelda, it had the Volvic commercial. It was fucking hilarious, and like, it had this one guy that it kept showing and say, "What the fuck was that?" And then it would say, "G.I. Joe." It was fucking dumb, but I loved it when I was younger. Another one is a Machinima series that got taken down. I don't think this was YouTube. I think this was on Dailymotion, but it also got taken down. It was called Luigi's Journey or something like that. And it was a Mario 64 Machinima about Mario being kidnapped by Bowser and turned into Metal Mario, which was some sort of villain in this version. Another thing, back in those days, reaction videos had to be for, like, to get any views, they had to be for something really, really fucked up, like Two Girls, One Cup or something like that. Which, ironically, LA Beats just did a video about with fucking mayonnaise. It's fucking nasty. But, anyway, back in those days, they never showed the video because it was always shit that couldn't be showed on YouTube. I mean, reaction videos are fucking stupid. But back then, at least, it was for really, really fucked up shit. And, YouTube is an ever-changing platform. I mean, my channel has changed considerably. If you go back to what few videos of my original videos remain, you'll see a completely different tone and completely different style, or rather lack thereof. But overall, I do miss a lot of these older YouTube things. Like, there was another YouTube poop I saw that was really, really good. I can't remember the whole thing. Basically, they made a completely new plot out of Mama Luigi. And there's this one part I absolutely love, where he's just like, right guys? Right guys? And they're just staring at him blankly. However, that YouTube poop no longer exists, so again, I can't show any clips from it. I wish it did, but I'm assuming most of these got taken down after the whole Viacom shit that started. Which, to be fair, there were lots of videos up there where people were uploading full episodes of TV shows, which, Viacom's in their right to take down. But personally, I always thought YouTube poops were considered fair use because they're done as parodies. But again, these videos are now gone. Either that or they may have been taken down by the user. I can't prove anything because I don't even remember who originally made these. Because back in those days, I rarely signed into a YouTube account to watch YouTube videos. Then when I did start my own account, I uploaded, let's face it, crap. But some of it's still up there because I enjoy my older shit, but that's beside the point. I remember back in the day, I'd watch all sorts of videos that would tell you all these facts, quote-unquote. Of course, none of them cited their sources or anything, and there was all sorts of crazy shit. And I still, I'm still into conspiracy theories to an extent, nowhere near as much as I used to be, and I don't take anything seriously anymore. But back in those days, anything that came out, I would just eat that shit up. Same with cryptids and ghosts. And while I still love to watch the occasional ghost video, none of them ever have that same feeling as watching it when I was younger, because they genuinely scared me back then. Most of the time now, you just watch it, you're like, that shit's fake. I mean, there are some that genuinely still make me think that they're fucking creepy, and some of them are believable and realistic, so I can't prove nor disprove any of them, but there's a lot of ones that you can obviously tell are CGI or even a fucking prank. That's another thing. Pranks didn't used to be a big thing on YouTube. It was all about fucking I honestly can't remember what it was all about, because all I watched was the conspiracy shit back in the day. I know that there was gaming videos back then of people just holding their cameras up to their TVs and shit, which I even used to do. And everyone was just making their own little webcam videos, again, like I used to do. I do miss those days of YouTube, but I do feel like we got quite a good wave of new content creators that actually do good content compared to some of the crap I used to watch, but at the same time, I feel that it has kind of lost its heart. Also, who remembers when Machinima was actually about machinimas? Not to mention, back in those days, you had all sorts of machinimas for Halo, especially. There was like a billion Halo 3 machinimas. All just independently made by people. I think one of the best ones was RB and the Chief. I mean, obviously my favorite machinima was Red vs. Blue, but I didn't watch that on YouTube. When I actually used to watch Red vs. Blue, I used to watch it on Halo Waypoint originally. Out of order, too, because I would just watch whatever episodes they had available. Then I eventually bought the DVDs, and then later on I started watching it on roosterteeth.com, and then buying the DVDs. But anyway, back in those days, machinimas were all over the place, and machinima.com was all about machinimas. I don't watch machinima.com's videos anymore because they don't do machinimas anymore. It's not what it used to be, and frankly, it's disappointing, but again, this is just how I feel about nostalgic YouTube. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little chat. You guys have a great rest of the day.